Alright, so I've been seeing a lot of really bad assassin builds or things that just don't work with the way the meta works, which is just blow things up right as they spawn and then clean up as fast as possible. So this is my current build. I think it's a lot stronger than a lot of the other stuff I see as far as like single target stealth stuff and true assassin builds, quote unquote. Let's run through it really quick. Um, so this is obviously like the quick overview of it. I'll go through item by item. Um, so the whole idea of this build is that you're getting Masamune procs and that you have a lot of melee damage stacked up. A lot of people might recognize this as being like the optimal samurai build from the pre-Icky Island patch, with some slight tweaks to it. But what makes this build so good has to do with the stacking of melee damage and the stacking of Oni damage, since most of the enemies are Oni, and you want to just have your items do as much spread out damage as possible. So for Masamune, since it's already got wind stance on it, which is perfectly good for what you need most sword stuff for, I just keep Windmaster. You're going to take melee damage and Oni damage. Oni damage feels stronger and better overall than ult damage or any of the other options, just because, again, it's proccing on your bombs, kunai, etc. Um, and the main point about the sword here, too, is that even though it seems like 20% chance to deal double damage is not that high, you got to consider that it's 12% here, another 12% there, and then another like 11 to 12% there. So that's 36 times 2. So you have a chance to do 72% bonus melee damage every time it procs. And it does apply to your ult. It applies to your stealth attacks. Everything just feels pretty beefy whenever you get that proc. And then bomb pack, pretty standard. I don't know why people take blowgun. It just doesn't make any sense. You really don't need the extra stealth attack damage. This is the quickest, best way to build resolve, just like period. Ideally, when the waves come out, you're either ulting or bombing, like instantly. So the blowgun is really just like a slow route to getting where you're going. The melee charm was goated last season for being the best thing for the assassin. I still think this is probably the best thing overall, unless you want to take like Injos and Masamune or something and lose your stealth damage. I think this is better than the assassin charm for 2 or 3 reasons. And I do have a built-up assassin charm, so I have tried it a bunch. This is not a perfect charm by any means, but you don't need the extra stealth attack damage because that's being pretty much replaced by more melee and Oni, because that's going to proc that anyway. And you're not going to get out a ton of stealth attacks in general anyway. Same thing with ult, it's really only like affecting one thing, so it's not going to be optimal. Chain Vanish, if you're not able to get in a lot of stealth attacks in general, you really don't get that much like bonus from it. So I get a lot more utility out of a melee charm here. Combat regen is really nice on the assassin since he doesn't have a ton of great sustain other than taking your healing class ability. And obviously Fire Master is a really good perk to go with bombs. Kunai, there's a little bit of wiggle room here depending on how you want to play. Obviously stacking melee damage. You can also take a sticky bomb, but I like Kunai a lot better specifically for this build. I do have cooldown on kill, because if you're not going to take Spirit Kunai or anything, it's going to help you in the event Lucky doesn't work out for you on the smoke bomb. Having your cooldowns back is really nice. Alternatively, I think you can take like ghost weapon damage or like maybe status effect duration, but I think this is probably either this or ghost damage instead of CDR4. You can also take hidden blades on the kunai, but I personally just like fired up better on the assassin because you've already got a bunch of other fire stats, and to me it feels a little more precise. Hidden Blaze is totally fine though. Supermassive is non-negotiable to me. And last but not least, Smoke Bomb. It is good to have the stealth attack damage because it does at least like fit into the item, but 1 is really all you need. Again, more CDR4. Obviously the best option to have like stacked. Um, just keeps you like in the money with your cooldowns. The assassin really loses a lot when he doesn't have his cooldowns. Lucky in munitions keeps you just so stocked up on bombs and stealth attacks if you really need them. But most of the time we're just trying to wipe the wave as hard as possible. And then techniques, refreshing vanish, great sustain. I think it really outshines group vanish and toxic vanish in every way. I take damage 30% bonus for assassinations. The only other thing I think is actually viable here is maybe double legendary, and you could run Injos or something instead. I personally just like the bonus 30% for now. Like it makes it so you just kill small enemies very quickly and then wipe out Onis. But again, most of the time you're competing with bombs and hunter ults, so you don't have too much time to get in more than a couple of these. Same thing, stealth attacks being faster, really just like ups your amount of like what you can do out of one smoke bomb if you are going to get that many. You're not staggering enemies that much, so it's not really worth it. And I don't think poison damage is substantial enough to really justify losing like the speed of the stealth stuff. And last but not least, I really don't think there's any other option than taking 5 hits on the ult with this build, especially because you're just getting so much more fast instant damage from your ult than you are anything else. Chain Vanish, not as worth it, and it's nice to have another legendary, but if you were going to do that, it'd be better to just take this slot. Anyway, my assassin's pretty good. I get a lot of kills with this. Hope you enjoyed this rundown.